Well, hello, and welcome to a special edition of Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham, where Team Needham discusses everything healthcare. I am in Rapid City, South Dakota, and I've got some great stories to share. As you can tell, I'm in a restaurant with some background noise, and the lighting isn't perfect, but I think it makes for even a better production. So, thank you for the food. I'm eating in a Cajun restaurant and loving it so far. Actually, I haven't tried it, but it sure does look good. So, thank you for tuning in today. And one thing I wanted to discuss is my first visit in South Dakota. My first visit in South Dakota was at a doctor's office. And as you guys know, in Washington State, you can't walk outside without having a mask on. The doctor's office in South Dakota believes in educating their patients and letting their patients make the decision on whether they should wear a mask or not. There was no mandatory mask sign on the door, none of that. It was up to the patient. As healthcare providers, I think that's what our job should be. That's what my goal is. This podcast is to educate and empower individuals to make their own healthcare decisions, be proactive in their health. That means with everything. That means with COVID. That means wearing a mask. That means getting the vaccine. Patients should be educated and they should make their own decisions. And that's not just with COVID, that's with anything. Whether a patient has hypertension, whether a patient has high cholesterol, they should be educated properly if they're going to get medications and what the side effects of the medications are and if they want to take it. And possibly, maybe their hypertension, or which is high blood pressure, or their high cholesterol would go away if they change their lifestyle. So as healthcare providers, it is our job to educate them on healthy choices also, not just what we think is healthy, but give them all the options so they can make an educated decision. So that was a great visit. Most of the clinics here they don't have mandatory masks. There are one of the bigger clinics so far had a mandatory mask policy. That's not a surprise. That's kind of the corporate healthcare thing. I would imagine they're getting paid extra dollars to have a COVID screener, from the federal government. So that's what they're buying into. They're making money off this. You typically see that in the bigger hospitals and the bigger clinics. Tune into our show Monday because we're going to be discussing corporate healthcare and how those things happen, and just follow the money as usual. Okay, enough about that. You guys know about my liberty. Oh, a couple other things. So even Starbucks has a sign that says we recommend wearing masks. This is in Rapid City, South Dakota. Even Starbucks. They recommend it. They don't mandate it. So I went into Starbucks, ordered some coffee, and I did not have to wear a mask. I walk into another restaurant, the restaurant that I'm staying in now. They said, if you would like our server to wear a mask, please just ask. Wow. How about that? Letting consumers choose. Isn't that what it's all about? I don't care if we're in healthcare or not. In anything, it's about free markets. Free markets should drive this stuff. So Planet Fitness last night, when I was in Planet Fitness, it's a corporate policy in Planet Fitness that they have to wear masks. I was in Sioux Falls a few weeks ago, and they made us wear masks. And I also told the manager, I said, next time I'm here, next time I'm in South Dakota, next time I'm in Sioux Falls, I will choose to go to another gym, just to let you know. I just let him know that as a consumer. I wasn't being a jerk about it. I just let him know. I said, I don't believe in wearing a mask, especially in a gym. And guess what? In Rapid City, they are not mandating masks at Planet Fitness, even though it's a corporate policy. Why? Because their customers basically said they weren't going to go there if they had to wear masks. They would go somewhere else. Guess what? That's consumers driving business. That's how it works. In a free market, that's how it works. Consumers make the choices and business owners have to follow or they go out of business. So think about that when you're made to wear a mask. Just a good comment there. Think about that. All right. But what I really wanted to share was an amazing story of customer service. I don't know if you guys have ever been just super overwhelmed and excited about somebody that goes out of the way with good customer service. I know I get that way. When somebody does something that is over the top, it makes me feel very special. And I will tell you, as a business owner, I love making people feel special. So I will go out of my way for people, and my team members will go out of their way for people because we like pleasing people. I think as humans, we really do like pleasing people. So I love good customer service stories. I think we all have one. I have to share this one. So for those of you that follow me on social media, you realize that there was a blizzard yesterday. and I got caught in a blizzard right basically coming in. I was checking the weather over the weekend, and it was in the 80s in Rapid City, South Dakota. I'm not kidding you. It was in the 80s. I'm checking the weather, and of course, my wife, who is much smarter than me, says, yeah, well, it can change really fast there, so you better plan accordingly. And of course, I wanted to ride my bike when I was here. And I get kind of tired of packing my bike on an airplane and putting it together, taking it apart. So I decided that I was going to, and spin bikes in gyms, they're just not the same. And I got to bring my shoes, and hopefully they have clip-in pedals with SPDs. A lot of them don't. And the spin bikes, you can't really get fitted right. You can't get the fit right, and they're just not the same. So I'm like, you know what? I am going to rent a bike in Rapid City, South Dakota. And, the great news about that is I get to ride a real bike. I get to be outside, and I get to try out a new bike, a different bike, which is just nice and fun. So I packed my warmer weather gear, not super cold gear, but not super hot gear. And I was prepared to ride three times. So I call the bike shop. They refer me to a place that is a bike rental place that's out of town, about 20 miles, 30-minute drive. So I drive there yesterday. They arranged, they usually are only a spring summer place, and they weren't going to open until April 15th. So they arranged to meet me, even though they weren't open, and they were going to let me rent a bike. So 5 o'clock, I'm supposed to meet them at 5. 5 o'clock comes around, and I'm driving there in these blizzard conditions. If you guys follow me on social media, you can look at the blizzard from yesterday. And I'm driving there. There are cars spinning out everywhere. You have to go over a little hill, and it's pretty nasty out. In Washington State, we're used to driving mountain passes. That's what this was, but it was nasty, and it caught. Even though they're prepared for it here, it caught the snowplows off guard a little bit. But boy, they were on it like that. So it was only for a few minutes. But in the meantime, there was a lot of traffic. There was busy traffic at that time of night. Busy for Rapid City. That's all relative, right? And they went to anyway. The snowplows were catching up. Anyway, I went to meet this place. And 5 o'clock rolls around. I don't get anything. Of course, I don't meet anybody. Of course, I had no cell phone service. Finally, I picked up some service, and I texted them, nothing. Called them, nothing. So I wait 15, 20 minutes, and then I head back to Rapid City. The blizzard conditions are still bad. There's winter storm warnings. Head back to Rapid City, and I get a call. I'm going down there, and it's from the mechanic of the bikes that's supposed to meet me. He's a mechanic and shop manager. He's supposed to meet me at 5, and he apologized that he couldn't meet me. He said, hey, I couldn't get there. I mean, there were cars spun out. It's a blizzard. I'm like, dude, no apologies necessary. He was so sorry and so apologetic. I'm like, dude, no apologies necessary. I said, come on. I mean, look at the weather outside. So I didn't know what to expect. I thought, well, I can probably meet you tomorrow. I can drive back down there, which is going to be a 40-minute, an hour round trip. He goes, I will deliver that bike to you no matter where you're at tomorrow morning. I'm like, whoa, seriously? You're going to deliver that bike to me no matter what tomorrow morning? Wow. Okay. So in the meantime, there's a foot of snow in the place that I picked the bike up, Hill City, and it's coming down hard in Rapid City and sticky. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, I'm going to ride my bike tomorrow. Do I even need this bike anymore? But it was predicting that the weather was supposed to be 60 degrees today. And, yesterday it was right at freezing and storming snow. And today it's looking like it's going to be over 60 when I ride this afternoon, this evening. And here's a good little trivia tidbit. So you wonder, it's hard to believe sometimes in Washington State that the weather can change so fast. Because in Washington State, even in Eastern Washington, where I live, even though we have, weather swings, we don't have extreme weather swings that quickly. Well, Rapid City, check it out. And I'll put it in the show notes today so you can check out the stat. Rapid City has the record for the biggest weather swing ever in the United States. Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. The weather swing, get this. It was like 55 degrees, 55, 60 degrees at one time. And that was like at 6 a.m., I think. At 8 a.m., it was 3 degrees. It was a 52-degree swing in temperature in 2 hours. Imagine that. So that's kind of what I'm experiencing now. Is there was snow, blizzard-like conditions yesterday. I didn't even think about being able to ride a bike. And today, I'm going to have to put sunscreen on. I already have. And gonna ride a bike in 60-degree weather. It's beautiful out. It's amazing how fast it changes. So this guy Jordan, who's gonna meet me at the hotel, we start texting. He said, "Well, be the best." I gave him my hotel. I gave him time. I said, and he said, "Well, this would work better for me." So we agreed on 8:30. I said, "That's perfect. 8:30 be perfect." So he texted me about 8 o'clock, and he said, "Man, this has been a horrible experience. Things aren't going well." And I'm feeling for him. I'm like, okay. He goes, I get to the shop. Remember, there's a foot of snow on the ground, and I'll share a picture of the van that was buried in snow. That he sent me a picture of. There's a foot of snow on the ground, and he texts. Anyway, yeah. So there's a foot of snow on the ground. So he had his pickup, and he was just gonna put the bike in his pickup. He asked me what kind of bike I needed, and I told him, and he was so helpful, and it was great. So he's on his pickup. He's in his pickup, and he's gonna just deliver the bike out of his pickup. Well, the snowplow plowed him in. So he 4-wheel drives, or I don't know if his car's 4-wheel drive, but he jumped over the snowbank, and while he did, he ripped either an oil line or something out from under, something that caused him to lose oil pressure. So he lost all oil pressure in his van, in his truck, trying to help me. So what does he do? This guy doesn't stop yet. He's like, "I'm going to get there. I just got to get the van ready from last summer or last fall when we stopped running." So the van is buried in snow. It hasn't been driven in 6 months or whatever. He's got to dig the van out from the snow so he can go meet me and give me a measly bike. I mean, I'm saying that with all due respect. I mean, obviously, I'm very appreciative, and they're proud of their bikes too. I'm not talking bad about the bike. It's just he did something big for something really so small. And I was thinking, I mean, come on. If I missed my rides this week, it's not that big a deal, right? And I probably would have found another way anyway. So anyway, he finds the bike. He digs the van out. He finds the bike, and he drives it to Rapid City, which is a half-hour drive. He's about 3 hours later than expected, but it was about 2.5 hours. But it was perfect timing. I was between visits and calls, and I'm gonna need to go to lunch soon after that. So it was perfect timing, and we got the bike all fixed up. He gave me the bike. He gave me the floor pump so I could pump the tires up, and if I needed to pump again, I had it. He put a tool bag on the back with some tools in it. And by the way, I have paid nothing by this time. All they have is my phone number. That's all this company has. It's called Rabbit Bicycles out of Hill City, South Dakota. Look them up. I'm going to try to tag them in this video so we can give them some publicity. Amazing. So he's checking out, and I said, I really kind of hesitated to ask him this, but I said, "Jordan, you've been super cool, and it's nice to meet somebody that does such good customer service and goes out of their way to treat a customer like this." He said, and I'm like, I'm flying out Friday, and I want a Friday afternoon, and I'd really like to get a ride in the morning, and it would really help me if you could, pick the bike up here. And he goes, "Oh yeah, I was planning on doing that. It'll save you a trip." And he says, "I live in Rapid City anyway, so you can just leave it at the hotel, and I'll come pick the bike up, and you can get on your flight. You don't have to worry about coming and dropping it off." I'm like, wow. He goes, and Stacy, I don't know if she's the owner or what, his boss. He goes, "She'll just email you an invoice." So I'm like, that's perfect. That's perfect. I said, they don't even have my email yet. I haven't discussed payment, nothing. So I will text him my email, and then they will send me an invoice, and I will pay them. I just had to share that story. I got a picture with him, and I took a picture and shared it on my social media earlier so I could share this, prepare you for this live video. And I just love great stories like that of customer service. And it's just a reminder, listeners and viewers, if we can go out of our way to help people, you know what? It not only makes them feel good. I mean, it made me feel special. I am not going to lie. But you know what? I think it makes the people giving the service special too. I know when I give service to somebody and they appreciate it and they thank me for it, it really does make me feel good. As they say, giving is better than receiving, and that is so true. So think about that next time when you're getting customer service from somebody, when you're in a business, and think about that. Think about when if you do work in a business, or let's face it, we're all in the customer service business. I tell my team members this all the time. We are all in the customer service business. We are all in the sales business, because immediately when we talk to anybody, we are essentially in the customer service business. So we're all in the service industry, and selling is serving. So when we help the customer, and even if it's a friend, I shouldn't say even if it's a friend, especially if it's a friend or family member, when we help to sell them on something, whether it's where we going to dinner tonight, when we do that, it builds a relationship, and it is serving. And as I said, giving is better than receiving. So think about that next time you are just interacting with friends or family or anybody in a business, or if you're in a business or in the sales or service industry, go out of your way to help a customer, because you know what? As bad as you might be feeling that day, it will make you feel better. I guarantee it. It is making me feel better. I am doing great. It made me feel awesome to get treated like that. So Rapid Bicycles in Hill City, South Dakota. Just look them up, check them out. I'll put a note in the show notes too after this is over, so we can share that. And as always, thank you, listeners and viewers, for tuning in to Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham. We could not do it without you guys. We just love doing what we do. Our goal is to educate and empower consumers to be in charge of their own health. So that's why we discuss all kinds of different healthcare topics. Tune in tomorrow, 8 a.m. to 9 Pacific Standard Time. We will have Dr. Jacob Deakins talking about Gaines wave therapy and how it has helped many patients with many different diseases. He's out of Spokane, Washington. So check that out, and we will see you later. We will see you at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning Pacific Standard Time. Thank you for tuning in.